to the Let's Talk Knicks podcast, where we talk New York Knicks basketball and other news around the NBA. I'm Jason Talbot, and with me, working that intro, is none other than Marcus Junquay. Marcus, episode 51. How we doing, man?
Uh, a little technical difficulties there.
Yeah, rough
We're
start.
we're figuring some things out here on the fly, but yeah, we're doing okay. We're making it work. We're hanging in there. Now we got to be aware that we're on camera, so
Yes.
just gotta make sure to not do anything crazy. But I like your artwork in the background. You got some merch
I got my merch on.
on.
I don't really have the cool Knicks setup. I working on it. I didn't even know we were going to be doing video. So maybe next week, maybe I'll put up a jersey. Maybe I don't know. Do some do some decorating. We'll have to see.
I got a Nick hat in the background.
Oh, there we go.
I got the blue though. The blue on the wall. That's just coincidental, It just makes me feel good. So I got a nice blue background. It's good for people on the work calls. But other than that, I think I'm feeling a little stressed. Last night got a little crazy for us
Whew.
with that game. I don't think anyone saw that coming. But also, did we kind of see it coming?
Oh, we saw it
Given
coming, of course.
the way the last couple games. I mean, last night as a whole in the NBA, a lot of comebacks from being down big. So in this league, the lead is safe.
The NBA basketball is a game of runs, and the NBA is showing that. Let's talk a little recap here with where the Knicks are. The Knicks did squeak out a victory last night against the Timberwolves, 103-99. Squeaked by. Man, that was
Definition of
it's
a
a win.
squeak.
A win is a win. You got to take them, especially in the regular season. Nights like that are going to happen. Knicks were up big, but came back at the end there to solidify the victory. And right now, the Knicks are sitting 7th in the East, 15-16. They're 6-4 in their last 10. With that record at 15-16, Marcus, you've already won the bet, hitting the 15 win mark. And I do owe you a pair of MeUndies, not a sponsor. It is getting a little weird that we're always betting underwear. I think we have to change the bet.
I mean, we could move up to the casual pants. I was telling you, I like their selection of houseware.
I've never tried the other MeUndies products, so that might be where we need to take these bets. But hey,
we can take it up a notch.
And I was big on the Knicks winning a bunch of games in these first 37 games up to the All-Star break. But after watching them in preseason, I completely retreated on my pick. I got nervous. The preseason was awful. So to see the Knicks now 15-16, they're a completely different team. That preseason, it's hard to believe that it's the same team when you watch. So I don't know if that was a strategy. I don't know how you can be that bad and then all of a sudden be as good as you are.
Think that their preseason, there was no real preseason because they had no training camp. They had no summer league for the rookies. And you could tell in the preseason they were not practicing offense. They were only practicing defense because that offense looked disgusting. And now you're starting to see at least what they can do. And I remember during those early media day interviews, Julius Randle looked so depressed. And just when they did those interviews, I was like, man, this guy just looks like he was reading everything everyone was saying about him. He was hearing all the murmurs. He was reading all the tweets, and he was just bummed out. And to see the turn that he made quickly too, they looked a little suspect in the first couple games, but I think they were just getting into it. And to see where he is now, of potential All-Star, I don't think we saw it coming. I mean, we did kind of, but I don't think no one saw it to this degree.
Listen, I came on here and I made a hot take about Randall was going to have a breakout season. Like this, the take was hot, but it wasn't that hot, So the Knicks, all right. Right now, the New York Knicks, there's a lot to talk about, but I want to get into what you were just talking about with Julius Randle. Let's kick it off there. He's the hot topic, and I'm just going to ask you the question straight on point. I want it first, yes or no, and then I want to know why. But is Julius Randle an All-Star?
Yes. Simple answer. Yes. Do you want to know
I'm
why?
with you.
You want me to tell you why?
Yeah, I do. I with Julius Randle, I got to say, I was in the no camp because I'm always tired of a Nick has a good season and all of a sudden he's an all-star. Classic Nick fan move. We've just been dying for good basketball for the last 20 years. So when a David Lee comes around and we're like, yo, this guy's, and he gets to the All-Star game because he's a Nick. And I mean, David Lee put up some good numbers, but like, was David Lee really All-Star caliber player?
I mean,
Maybe.
an
I mean, that's maybe
interesting
a discussion for another day. But
an interesting question from the game last night, like the Cadillac Trivia, not a sponsor, but
yeah,
they asked like who are the last 5 All-Stars in the last 20 years from this Knicks team. I didn't even remember the because like you only think of Melo and Porzingis as the last 2 to make it. And I completely forgot about Tyson Chandler and
Chandler.
Amari,
Yep.
and David Lee was
Right.
not even a thought. So kind of crazy that, I mean, yes, the gap between those two is like 8 or 9 years or something, but I also think it counts for more that probably going to be a coach's pick, because all the other ones are just a popularity contest. So you have to actually show them something for the coaches to want you. And the fact that he's uh, impacting wins. And that's what Tibbs always
Yeah.
said he was looking at, is that the team is winning. So you can't be like, you hear Van Gundy and all those guys always say they don't want an all-star from a losing team.
Yep.
So
Which
this is
there's
showing that
plenty of in the East.
he's having an impact on them winning games and playing the right way, and really, you know, he's figured out how to play and how to play to win. So I say yes, he's an all-star.
Yeah, and I've come around on it because for me, it was still like, and we've said it before in previous episodes where Randall every now and then was still doing some bonehead stuff and would go back to the spin move or starts to play iso ball. And I gotta say though, especially as we get closer to the All-Star game, when the voting started picking up and the conversation started happening, I really wanted to see how he would react. And Randall has been playing awesome, man. Like he's automatic with the mid-range jumper. He's starting to shoot these threes really well, and he's
Pretty high
taking
clip that
good
he's hitting those.
shots, high quality shots. They're going in. He's getting better. And the Knicks just came out recently and said that Julius Randle is going to be part of this team long term. And I think that's also going to be something that, of course, they're just going to say that. Like, how could you not say that right now? But I
Yeah.
believe them. Julius Randle, he leads the team in every category, including assists right now. He, I've come on here too and talked about how RJ needs to be the guy. And I think I still believe that for the Knicks to be truly successful, Randall probably has to be the third best guy on the team. If the Knicks are going to make like a championship run at some point, maybe in 5 years or whatever, Randall, he's still young, but he's got within the next 5-6 years, early 30s. That's when, if he's still going to be on the team, you want to see the Knicks make a move. But like stars, when you talk about the Anthony Davises of the world and Joel Embiid and just the I'm watching Jason Tatum play. I mean, they ended up losing to the Pelicans, and I know you kind of hate Zion a little bit for whatever
I
reason,
don't hate Zion.
but there's certain players that are just so gifted, and Randall is gifted in a lot of ways, but I think he has to play within himself a little more. He has to work maybe even a little bit harder because he's not built like Anthony Davis, who's just. I'm not saying Anthony Davis doesn't work hard, but there's some God given talent he has there that no other player can mimic. So, but Julius Randle has just been so freaking good. And I'm not saying that as just a Knick fan, because this is hard for me to even say that Randle's an all-star, because just a couple weeks ago, I was like, Knick fans need to chill. Like, Randle's not an all-star. I'm sorry, but I'm I'm
You're
here, man.
turning it
I'm
over. You're
here.
turning it over. You know, he put you into a spin move, and
He
you're
did,
coming
yeah.
back around.
And in the East, it makes it a lot easier too. I'm still gonna throw hate on the Eastern Conference always and
I mean,
forever.
you know what's crazy though? We are in the toughest division in the Eastern Conference. That entire division
Yeah,
is the whole top 8 of the, say, for like 2 or 3 teams.
yeah,
I just found that interesting that, you have the Nets, the Sixers, Celtics, Raptors, Knicks, and
yeah.
yeah, the Wizards aren't even in there anymore. So they're all in the playoffs, and it's the only division that is like that. So it's
Little fun
interesting.
fact right there.
I like to give you a little fun fact sometimes,
Love it. So yeah, I mean, okay,
Big
so we're
whoop. Big whoop. Big whoop.
well, we are we are on board with Randall being an all-star game. I mean, that's not really surprising, but Randall's playing great. I don't know. It's weird
And to
to
your
be so
point though, I
supportive of
think
that. I don't know.
of you saying that he needs to be on a contending team, he would ideally be the third best player. I think that's when you would start to see him hone in on all those skill. Like saying he has a lot of skill, he's good at a lot of stuff, but he's not great at one thing. And I think if you put him next to two star, or at least one other star, you'll see him maximize his best assets, and that's where you'll start to see him
Yeah.
really take off if need be. And maybe who is that next guy? Who is that other player? I don't know.
And speaking of everything that you're talking about too, about Randall, is his play is translating to the Knicks winning games, right? The Knicks are 15-16. They're seventh in the East. Yes, they have a losing record. They're seventh in the East because it's the East. But so here, I'm going to throw some numbers at you, and I really want to get your opinion on this, because, like, I want to know, are these Knicks for real? And I want to get into it because, oh, let's throw some numbers. God, man, every time I hear that, a little part of me just I get those goosebumps. Uh, the Knicks are 6-4 in their last 10. Only one of those teams are a playoff team. The last 10 games, Portland is the only playoff team. They went up against teams like Miami, Washington, Atlanta, Chicago. And honestly, the Knicks' schedule up to this point, being 15-16, has been against mostly non-playoff teams. The Knicks' schedule has not been great. I mean, early in the season, like they beat the Bucks, and
Playoff
now you've
teams
seen
from
like the Bucks
last year.
struggle. Other thing, the Knicks, they're number one in defense, but they're last in offense. Right? We've talked about that. The teams that the Knicks have also played, most of them are in the bottom half of points scored per game. Now, is that the Knicks defense, or can you attribute that to just the quality? Are they the reason for it? Goes back and forth. The Knicks being last in points per game, though, they also are last in field goals attempted a game. They're not really that. I know Tibbs wants to pick up the pace, and the Knicks don't necessarily play slow, but compared to the rest of the league, I mean, you watch a Nets game, you're like,
Yeah, they do.
Jesus, what the hell is going on here? What the hell is going on here? But you got RJ and Alfred, and like just kind of slow guys. Reggie, like, we're kind of a slow, especially the starting lineup. When the second unit comes in, they start to pick it up. But the Knicks are kind of slow. They're slow. What else can I say?
They're not a fast paced team. I think we know that.
And they're also last. They're second to last in 3-point attempts. They're not really built for a 3-point shooting team, so they don't do it a lot.
Who's worse?
I'll have to pull that up. Is it? Look at you putting me on the spot.
Giving you follow up questions. I thought that was an interesting fact.
I don't. I know. Right. Interesting. I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna pull it up right now. Cleveland. I thought it was Cleveland. Which big whoop. But we're not talking about Cleveland today. So that's the thing with all these numbers. You got to win. You got to win the games you play, right? these numbers are not surprising. We saw these numbers early in their season, and we kind of thought, especially the number one in defense and things like that, like you kind of thought maybe these would level out a little bit. But it's really interesting to me. The Knicks are almost 500, and they're the best in defense, worst in offense, and their record kind of shows that. So, is this just the team? Is this the team that we're watching? We're going to see for the rest of the year, like because a 500 record in the East too means playoffs.
And that's what I was thinking about this morning, actually, because I was looking at the standings. I was like, maybe they're just an average team, but average is going to get you into the playoffs. And by average, I mean, like they're a 500 team. If they hover around it, one or two, give or take a couple games above or below, they should make the playoffs. Yep. And maybe that's just the type of team they are, because they are missing that one piece. And there are some elements of every game that you're just like, we need something else. And which is fine, but that's part of the process. We don't have everything right now. They shouldn't be in a win now mentality, even though sources and reports would say that they are. But I think they just want to be in a place of, let's start winning some games, because they just haven't done it in so many years, where you're a lottery pick every year, you're winning like 20 games a year. It's like, okay, let's get into a habit of winning. Step one, step one, compile some players, compile some talent. Step two, start winning some games. Step three, make a run in the playoffs. Step four, be contending.
See, and I'm the believer, and I want to get your thoughts on this too. I'm the believer that the Knicks are in win now mode. I don't think Tibbs is clearly not. He has no interest in, I guess, developing young talent in the way we would think about developing young talent, because Knox is not playing. Frank is not playing. Quickly just played 9 minutes last game. Derrick Rose got 18 minutes, which I want to talk a little bit about that too, with Rose coming in. Elfrid Payton is getting the start. Elfrid Payton has been playing great. As much as it hurts Knicks fans, and I know we talked about this before the season started, we're getting exactly what Elfrid Payton is, and he's getting better, which is still annoying because I don't think we still want him on the court, and we want to see quickly develop. But I think Tibbs' way of developing young players is, you ain't playing if there's someone ahead of you that's playing better. And I'm going to start with my vet guys. You young guys, you just got in the league. So I'll get you out there. If the vets and our older guys are not playing well, even sometimes maybe not, I want to keep those guys out there because I believe in them. And he's done that with Elfrid. We've seen Elfrid go on these stretches where you're like, what the hell is Tibbs thinking? Now all of a sudden, we're 31 games in the season and Elfrid's playing much better. And I've said this to you on previous casts too, where I'm just like, I think I just got to let Tibbs do his thing because he might know more. And I'm not seeing the Elfrid hate anymore on Twitter. It's kind of gone. Like no one
like
is giving
Elfrid fit anymore. All we really need from him is slightly above average play, and we're fine. We went through a stretch, a lot of hate. You go back just to, what was it, the MLK game? Like that day, you're just like, the hate was in full force. And I think from there, you're just seeing him attack the rim a little more. As long as he's not taking threes, I think that's all you really want out of him. Sometimes he's taking way too many shots. Like, he'll be taking the most shots on the team, and I don't think that should be happening. He starts to feel himself a little bit too much. But I think we're seeing who he really is. He's an average point guard. He wouldn't be starting on any other team. Although, granted, every team he's been on, he's been the starting point guard, which baffles me somewhat. But
and part of that, he's got good handle. He's a big guy. He's really not that great of a passer, but he can still get the offense going. And I think it's his size that is so appealing. And apparently his defense, which that's the thing that still blows my mind, is that in this last really 6 games, they've won 4 or 5, but I think the breakout of Elfrid Payton and his great play has started with that game in Miami where he dropped 18. he's just being super aggressive and he's scoring more and at the basket. And while he's taking a lot of shots, they seem to be better shots.
They're higher percentage shots. He's just not going to always hit them. But
yeah, and so it's just this is
should
the
we
Knicks, man.
should we hang up the Alfred hate for now? I don't want to jinx it. And then now he starts to stink
Well,
again.
that's what I'm saying. He's going to come and play some bad games. Sure. Like, it's going to happen. And the fact is, he still can't shoot. So when teams just drop back in zone and be like, hey, we're not going to guard Alfred and let him shoot threes, I think teams maybe gotten away from that a little bit. Or Tibbs is like, I don't care if you're open, stop shooting three, or don't stand there. Don't even stand
And
for the open three.
it's interesting now. You're not seeing those like early in the season. Lots of teams were running zone on them, and they're still doing it, but just not as much because guys are starting to hit some of those threes. Granted, like you said, they don't take the most of any team.
Yep.
And they don't hit the most either, but they're getting better as in the last.
And I noticed specifically in the Minnesota game, they were playing a lot of zone, and the Knicks were playing great against it. I think they've been practicing against the zone because everyone's playing it against them. And I saw RJ a bunch of times cutting to the middle, getting the ball. I mean, that's what you got to do. You got to break down the zone inside out. And the Knicks have been they've been doing well. I mean, it's so frustrating because before coming into this year, we're all about developing young talent, just coming back to that. And now we're kind of not. Tibbs is playing
I think
the guys who he feels have earned the minutes, and those are going to be the guys who are not in their early 20s because they're playing better basketball. Reggie Bullock has been playing great. You know, I'm a Reggie fan. I like Reggie. I think you just got to like use him the right way.
But I think they are. It's just that they have so many young guys. It's like not all of them are going to play if you want to win some games. But you are seeing Quickly does play. Toppin is getting minutes. Mitch, RJ, they're still young guys. It's not like every rookie has to play, you know. So they're the ones on the outs are Knox and Frank. And Frank is always like there's always some excuse they give for why he can't play. Knox gets the garbage minutes, and we got Theo Pinson cheering on everybody, which I love to see. I need a guy like him in my life to just make me feel great. But you know, I think he's finding that balance of vet and youth to play and seeing where they come together.
Knox and Frank might as well not be on the team. They don't play.
They won't be.
The two guys that Knick fans, beginning of the season, before the season started, if I told you, yo, Knox and Frank, when we get to close to midway through the season, are not even going to be in the rotation, you would scratch your head and be like, but how? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. Yeah.
But I mean, but watching them now from when they were in the games, I kind of get it. You know, in the larger scheme, Knox doesn't give you that much. If he's not hitting those corner threes, he doesn't really give you much else. And that's if you look at all the guys that are getting minutes, save for like a Reggie Bullock who's really out there to shoot, and he's an okay defender, pretty good, decent defender. But everyone can do multiple things, and I don't think Knox really can. Or maybe he can, and we just haven't seen it yet. Or we're seeing in practice, he's just not doing it. So that's where he's not earning those minutes. And Frank is injured all the time.
When we did our grades episodes, though, we did give Knox. I mean, I gave him more high praise at the time, and in the beginning of the season, we were loving the step that Knox took forward. So I would more so attribute to Knox, especially Knox not playing, is the emergence of Emmanuel Quickly earning a rotation spot. We didn't know. Alec Burks, when he's healthy, earning a rotation spot all the time when he's in because of his scoring. And, you know, he's just more refined, I think, too, which Tibbs, again, he's not going to put in Knox, who maybe has a higher ceiling, we would hope, for his future in the NBA. Alec Burks is playing better basketball right now. So Tibbs is like, all right, Knox, you're not playing. Like, you'll get some playing the scrimmages. You'll get a couple extra minutes.
Although Tibbs has said, he has brought up a couple times that Knox could see more minutes.
Yes.
Because, you know, we haven't talked about it yet, but Mitch is out. So they have to work on different lineups that could see Knox is what 6'9". You could see small ball lineups with Julius at the
Sure,
5.
we could.
Maybe you put Knox at the
Yeah.
4. He's talked about it, and
He's talked. Yeah.
according to him, they've practiced it. So depending on who they're playing, Knox is that first guy. He's getting those first garbage minutes.
Agreed. And I get the feeling that the organization, they did extend Knox. Like, I feel like they like Knox and he's a work in progress. So Frank, I kind of feel like is going to be traded or gone, or, maybe he's just a young piece that when injuries come up, maybe he'll get his chance again. And, you don't know the
He's
future
still
about
working
him. We
hard out
don't,
there.
we have a lot of 1-year contracts. So I don't think Tibbs is in a rush with these young guys to just get them out on the floor. And like I said, I'm kind of just trusting Tibbs right now. What he seems to be doing seems to be working. And that kind of brings us into the. So before I get into the next thing, I think we both agree that the Knicks are playing like a 500 team with their schedule moving forward. At the very least, they're going to get into that play-in. And let's just keep fingers crossed. Dallas keeps losing and we get a lottery pick at the end of the
500
season.
team is more than we could have expected. And I think people are happy about that. Like, they don't stink. So that's step one. Although I will continue to blame Stephen A for recent because when he starts talking and he starts getting on it, that's when things start to go off the rails. And I will say this. When I saw Stephen A the other day, he had Spike Lee on First Take.
Oh, I saw that.
Is something a little off about Spike Lee?
Yes.
I mean,
the answer is
you've touched on it a few times over the years. Like, one, I just don't like hearing him speak because you can tell he's not really thinking before he's talking and he just kind of stutters through things. But he mentions he's talking about how he's like the ultimate Knick fan, diehard Knick fan, 1970. I was there in the finals. Earl Monroe was not on that Knick team. He didn't even give kudos to Clyde Frazier being on that team. And he named the wrong coach. So, like, who are we to believe that Spike is Spike actually yeah, he's there.
He's there.
But is he the mascot that we really need?
Yeah.
He's been kind of in the background this season. He hasn't said much while they're winning. But Spike,
something's
I just watched
going on.
Malcolm X yesterday. Got plenty of respect for Spike Lee, but he might need to turn his mic down.
I don't know enough about the situation, but there's something. There's something
like a weird
going on.
interview. Like, they're talking about HBCUs, which is good. He's a Morehouse man. He's talking like, oh yeah, second, third generation Morehouse guy. But then they ask him about the Knicks. That's what he's always there for. It's to give his 2 cents about the Knicks. And then he goes into this rant about the 70s finals. I'm like, what game were you watching then? Because those guys weren't there.
Hey, man, he lives a crazy life. It's hard to keep track of all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I just thought it was like I found it curious.
So, oh man, what were we even talking about? Okay, oh yeah. So, Knicks in the playoffs. We're a little late here. The Knicks made a trade for Derrick Rose, and I love the trade from the beginning because we traded away Dennis Smith Jr., who I can't stand you candidate, if you will.
Now there's
can't stand you.
Now there's hype that he's actually starting for the Pistons.
Yeah, whatever. I mean,
what does that say about the Pistons?
Yeah, the Pistons are. So for us, it was a great trade because we gave away a guy who wasn't even going to make it to the rotation. Okay, we gave away a pick, but Knicks have plenty of picks. And we got an NBA player who is now in the lineup, and the Knicks are 4-2 since acquiring him. And even better is that Rose is taking Austin Rivers minutes. And I'm mad at myself because when the Knicks got Rivers, I joined the bandwagon of being happy about the Rivers acquisition. That this guy's a vet and a nice guy in the locker room, and he could be a team leader and a good backup point guard. And behind the scenes, I always said it just to you that I don't like this guy. There's something about every time I watch him play, I feel like can be a little bit of a ball hog, and I just don't like his game. He gives you flashes of being a good player, and that's what keeps him around. But this guy's a journeyman. Why does if he's such a good player, why does he keep moving teams? And I mean, the Knicks have been playing so much better without him in the lineup, right? And will it last? Derrick Rose is way better than Austin Rivers. Derrick Rose is a former MVP. Even when he was on the Knicks before, he was still a good player. And living in Detroit, I had so many Pistons fans being like, "You guys got a good one in Rose." Like I needed someone
Yeah,
to tell me that we got a good player in Derrick Rose, but it's still like a reminder. We just kind of forgot about Derrick Rose is still good. He was good in Minnesota. He just kind of
Yeah.
he went to
I
Minnesota,
mean,
the Pistons, on
just
the
2
Knicks.
years
Like
ago, he dropped 50 in a game. Like, he could still
he
play.
won an
So
MVP in the league, man. Like and the fact that he's a bench guy is just great. And I feel like it's been a great addition. We've loved seeing him play with Quickly, and the Knicks are a better team with that trade.
and I think it's also that he knows his role. Like, he's not trying to
Yeah,
be MVP level Rose again. He knows he's not the guy. But he's even come out and said, "Give me 20 minutes a game. I only got so many minutes on these legs. Just let me contribute where I can." He's in Quickly's ear. He's in Toppin's ear.
it's great.
And what did I
In
say
Alfred's year, I hope too.
when what did I say when they got Rose? I was like, you might start to see Obi
Yep.
benefit the most from him being there.
Obi's been
And
playing
in
great
those
too.
first couple games, that he was looking for him, he was like actively looking for him because there's so many times you see Toppins wide open under the basket and no one gets to him. But speaking of him, he's still like I'm happy that he's getting minutes. And yes, he's
Obi
only
Toppin?
playing like 10. Yeah, he's getting about like 10 minutes a game. It's
Sure,
fine.
yeah.
He's a rookie. He's easing into it. But you still see the flashes of athleticism that he has. I think he just needs to get stronger, used to playing against
Stronger, yeah,
stronger guys
absolutely.
because he's trying to post up from right inside the 3-point line. That's
He
not
still he still looks a little lost out there at times. I think he just needs more NBA minutes. You got to get stronger. And honestly, if Obi just becomes like a nice bench guy, that's the thing with all these picks. I've heard Knicks fans telling me Obi Toppin's like a bust and this and that. And it's like the Knicks got to develop a team, man. We can't just take every pick and expect them to be a starter and an all-star. You know, I'll throw a little shade on you. I mean, you came out and said Obi Toppin's going to be better than Zion, which I just kind of ignored at the time, but I haven't forgotten. Like maybe that could still happen, but the Knicks
maybe.
need like a
Sometimes you
10-man
say things.
rotation and need to get better. Bench guys are important. Sixth men sometimes win you championships. I mean, who is it? That Boston Celtics team that won, and James Posey was in the playoffs. I mean, Fred VanVleet coming off the bench for the Raptors. Like, bench guys matter, man, and like teams matter. Unless you're LeBron and Anthony Davis, and then
And if you're going to
it
commit
doesn't
to
matter.
Julius, if you're going to commit to Julius long term, maybe Obi just becomes first man off the bench. Like
Which is
that's your sixth
awesome.
man,
That's
and
fantastic.
you
I
just
love
gotta
that
you gotta roll with it. And they still play good minutes. Like how many times has Lou Williams closed the game?
because
It's like
if Obi Toppin was not in the lineup, where would the next be? I mean, Obi missed a bunch of games, and I mean, Randall was leading the league in minutes.
yeah,
So
you gotta give him a break. And then you have old Butterfingers out there,
Nerlens, come on, man.
Nerlens.
Just
I
hot hand.
appreciate him, but come on, just like get some powder on those hands before you get out there. Just keep that grip tight, but
I
it's still
always
funny.
think
I don't
of,
know.
I constantly think of the Little Giants when Spike
Come on,
Haynes,
fellas,
yeah,
don't let me
and
down.
he's just like, "Hey, hot hands, you're the best player on our team." Oh, it's
Pretty
amazing.
much, man.
Nerlens has been playing really well. I have to say, just those
When it
hands,
comes
man.
to defense, as long as he's not catching
Yeah.
anything, just swatting his hands around. But
So
you see the sorry if I cut you off. Well, you see the the issue with not having Mitch out there. I think is the biggest comes up rebounding,
yeah,
and
oh,
you saw a
absolutely.
lot of the games they were winning. They were out rebounding teams by a lot. And even last night, they're just guys getting pushed around. Like they're not boxing out. They're not strong enough. They're not long enough to get those rebounds or at least
Yeah,
the tip outs. So hopefully, I trust Taj out there a lot more
it's
than I
okay.
trust Nerlens. But
They're doing okay. They're holding it down.
they'll hold it down, and that's why I don't think. And we can transition, I guess, into this of what, like, do you make a move to fill that gap or just wait and play it out?
Yeah. And with the Rose trade, that was kind of the first domino. And I think everyone thinks that maybe the two biggest names that I think are realistic for the Knicks to make a move are either Bradley Beal or Andre Drummond. As far as a big trade, Blake Griffin has come up, but that doesn't really make any sense. With Mitch Robinson being hurt, and even if Mitch wasn't hurt, Andre Drummond he's on his last year of his contract. Andre Drummond's a good player. We're talking about Nerlens, like he's fine. Got hot hands. I mean, Taj Gibson is not like any long-term answer. Getting Andre Drummond, even from Mitch Robinson, would be an upgrade, would make the team better. I don't think anyone can discount that for a team that struggles in three-point shooting. Is Andre Drummond necessarily the thing that's going to make the team that much better and the thing you need? Bradley Beal seems like the player that would help the Knicks in what they need right now, and having a Randall Bradley Beal combo sounds a little bit better. I kind of pose this question to you of like, did the Knicks work out something where you have Julius Randle, Bradley Beal, and Andre Drummond? Whoa, oh, okay. How could they do that? I don't know. I mean, you'd have to give up. You almost feel like everybody plus some picks, but then that's kind of your team moving forward for a little bit. I mean, not to get ahead of myself, but
not necessarily, because they're not going to play Andre Drummond until they get rid of him, or they just buy him out, which I think is what could happen. And then you can get him for whatever you want. You don't have to give up anything to get him. So then you could have Andre Drummond there. The thing I don't know that he's the best fit there, because he likes to have the ball in his hands too. He's not like Mitch Robinson's a good compliment to Julius because he doesn't have to do anything offensively. He's a lobber and a putback guy. So you put Drummond out there. He likes to go get his buckets. He likes to post up, down low, and Julius, it could take away from those touches. I don't know how they mesh together quite the same way. And it's kind of like, when you had Amari and Tyson Chandler out there. It's the same kind of thing with Julius and Mitch. It's like you have a guy at the 5 who doesn't really need the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
And Drummond's like a 20-20 guy. So he likes to run the offense. I think their biggest need is a shooter, a consistent shooter that can get the buckets down the stretch, that could go off for 40 if you wanted to.
Yep.
And if you can get that, here comes the bigger question, which you talked about, what do you give up? Are you okay giving up an RJ to get
I think
Bradley?
You'd have to. I think you'd absolutely have to. I can't see a scenario where the Knicks get Bradley Beal and don't give up RJ Barrett. Also, I really don't think Washington is giving up Beal from what I'm reading. I don't know why they would, but then if they did, they would have to rebuild. So picks the Knicks would have to give up a lot.
They definitely have to give up this year's first round pick, maybe even the Dallas pick also. And
but maybe they could also get Beal with just giving up a ton of picks. I mean, if you're Washington and Bradley Beal is talking to your front office about, I want out and I'm leaving the first chance I get, or like now players can just say, I'm not playing anymore until you get rid of me. I mean, that's really the NBA that we live in. And that could come to that. And it kind of feels like, I mean, Beal doesn't want to be on a losing team, and all of a sudden the Knicks are 500. So the Knicks do seem a little bit more appealing. At the same time, if I'm Bradley Beal, do I really want to go from the Wizards now to the Knicks? Like, I think he might be looking for a bigger upgrade. I always have to say, like, I'd have to look at the actual trade. So when people ask, would you be willing to give up RJ for Beal? My answer is maybe. And it's not, and I told you how much I loved RJ, and I
love RJ. I would never.
I do love this guy, and I think he could be so good. But I think one thing that I'm I'm having a little hard time with right now is this Julius RJ dynamic. I don't know if you've seen it on the court, or maybe it's just me. There's not a lot of chemistry going on. I'm feeling like they each want the ball. They never pass to each other. It's so rare
Very
that
rare.
those two guys give the ball to one another. And would that change with Beal and RJ? Beal and Randall. I don't know, but a little worried something might be going on here. And if
But
we're
also, I
committed to
think
Randall,
it could be that Randall he doesn't trust RJ to hit that shot,
oh, he
and
doesn't. He doesn't at all.
and RJ hasn't given him any reason to. Like he goes on stretches here and there where he's hitting better shots, but he's not that consistent knockdown
Yeah.
shooter. That's not who that is. If Beal was there, I could see that becoming. I could see that trust being there more with him.
Here's what I'm going to say. When it comes to Bradley Beal, he is on another level of talent. Bradley Beal is awesome. He can score. A Knicks, a team that is
All-star stuff.
last in scoring, Bradley Beal would be beyond an upgrade. It would make them so much better. Of course, the question is, okay, what do you do with RJ? Whose minutes? Is RJ still there? And then RJ moves to the three, and Beal. You make it work. So I'm that the reason I say maybe is because Beal is a type of talent that can really uh, make this team great. And having moving forward with now Randall and Beal as your core pieces, you can start to make other moves where you can start to really become more of a contender. The Drummond thing I would only do if it's like you're giving up practically nothing. I don't want to give. I'm not giving
Only
up
do it for
RJ. I'm
buyout.
not giving up Mitch. So it's kind of like, can you get him on the cheap? It would have to feel like getting this Derrick Rose deal done. Andre Drummond's a big name, but like you can't give up a lot. And that's I think I'm more inclined though to just like chill. And I think judging that what I've seen the Knicks do up to this point, I don't think the Knicks are going to do anything because I think it's going to be Washington's going to ask for too much for Beal and Drummond. I don't think they're going to be able to make a deal that gives where the Knicks give up basically nothing. I think there'll be another team that would give up more. So I think the Knicks just stay put, and
Or
right now is not the time to pull the trigger.
the things that we're seeing is that you got World Wide West back there,
Yeah.
trying to do things through back channels, which
Yeah.
I'm like, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
That's where you saying that the Wizards have no reason to trade him. It's like they're trying to get him to say, I want to trade, and
Maybe,
then
yeah.
you can force their hand a little bit. That's the only way I could see. We're going to the old West here, and West is out there doing weird stuff. Who knows what the plan is? But I still don't think you break the bank again to get somebody. And
No,
I don't know what Beal's contract is now, and if like how many more years he's got on it.
yep.
But I don't want to see another Melo trade.
Yep.
And I don't think that this front office is going to do that. Which is interesting to bring up because we're 10 years removed from the Melo trade, and
Yep.
it's like, okay, like who actually won that trade? I would say the Knicks definitely won that
They got
trade.
Melo, of course. They got the best player.
Did they have to do it the way they did? No, but you like look at the guys who were involved in that trade, and where are any of them now? So
Yep.
it's like,
Yep.
all right, and what did they really achieve by going? I think Gallo's probably the only one that took his game up another level, but like Mozgov,
No, they're
no.
not around. Wilson Chandler was like still playing and balling out, but whatever.
Yeah, and then we got back Raymond Felton anyway, so
Yeah.
it was like,
And
I remember when that trade happened.
Yep.
I was very excited, and I was just some personal story. We can go into it. I was living in LA at the time, I think, and I remember seeing rumors. I remember all the rumors were that he was going to go to Brooklyn, and I was like, no, can't have that happen. But we got the report, "Hello Mello" on the cover of Daily News, and
of course.
it's funny they had him in the number 30 jersey,
Oh,
which
did
is
they?
Yeah, I think they just did 15 times 2 and just put the 30 instead of dropping back to 7.
There you
But
go.
I was like, him, Chauncey, coming out that first game against
I
home
love
game against
Chauncey
the Bucks,
Billups, man.
and then that game against the Heat, people were Mr. Big Shot. People were losing their minds. All the Knicks fans ever need is just a little bit of a spark, and now I think we're shaking. We're getting a little smoke going.
Yeah.
We're getting smoke going. The spark's not there yet, but the smoke is there. All it needs is
And
that one. So
I like what you said, because that's the thing. What's so interesting about this Knicks team? I mean, as we said, we believe Julius Randle has earned an all-star spot. Like, he can't play any better, and it's not like for him to be a starter. It's for him to get like just to be there an all-star weekend. He deserves it. He's playing great basketball. It's not just a player on a player on a bad team putting up big numbers. I think that's sometimes easy to do, and you just want to say all-star. The Knicks are actually playing good basketball, and Randall is just like, I mean, if you watch games, like, he's playing awesome. Teams are like doubling and tripling him, and he is running the offense. He's doing everything. We always talk about this. We still think he's doing a little too much sometimes, and like, but he's getting better. And um, the ceiling seems to be getting higher and higher for him. I mean, Tibbs is doing his thing. The Knicks are doing their thing, and we're taking the right steps. This front office has not done anything yet to make me believe that they're going to make some stupid Antonio McDyess-esque move. In fact, it's been the opposite. And it's not even like they're throwing darts of like, oh, we'll just do this to see what happens. Everything has a purpose. Everything has been very meaningful as to why they do it. They didn't just bring in Rose like, for me, it was kind of a sure, why not? But as we saw, no, we're bringing in Rose because Austin Rivers kind of sucks, and we're putting him right in the lineup, and we think he'll be good for quickly. He's going to be good for developing our players. So Knick fans, typically, we love to get hyped about everything. Case in point, Emmanuel Quickly, who, now he's kind of chilling a little bit. Like, okay, he's a rookie. This is going to happen, He's going to have good games and bad games. It happened, but we're feeling very good as Knick fans, and just going to stay in our lane, man. Keep it cool. Keep it chill. Like Emmanuel, let's just float on by, man. The floater. That, as Knick fans, let's just be the floater, embody it. That's how we just got to live, man.
Well said.
Thanks, man.
That's way to wrap
All right. Well, I mean, I've been feeling good about today. A good talk. Knicks coming up. Schedule. That San Antonio game postponed. I don't know exactly if they've rescheduled quite yet, but Knicks got nice home stretch: Golden State, Sacramento, Indiana. So this is going to be I think missing Mitchell Robinson here is gonna hurt a little bit. So,
and an interesting wrinkle: the fans are back, starting
yeah.
starting tomorrow night. So we'll
So
see how that impacts it.
the booing of Elfrid Payton.
So Alfred Payton can get booed appropriately.
He's been playing so well. I bet they're gonna go nuts for him.
I thought about trying to go, but I'm still, I haven't been into Manhattan in almost a year. So
yeah. You made it
we'll
this
see.
far, man. Man, tickets are. I'm just looking here. Tickets as low as 112 for that Golden State game. Unbelievable, man. I love seeing that. Yeah, living in Atlanta, it's like tickets as low as $3. Like, what the? All right, man. Episode 51 is in the books. You can follow our podcast at Let's Talk Knicks on Twitter, on Instagram at Let's_Talk_Knicks. Follow my man Marcus Chinqui at mchinqui on Twitter. Myself at Jason Talbot. Episode 51. Let's Talk Knicks podcast. We'll talk to you next time.